Welcome to Martini Time. This is my favorite time of the day when I sum up, or kind of like put into a martini what I've learned today, what I've been meditating on today. So, yesterday evening, my talk was on I will argue no more forever. That was the statement of the Napasay chief when he decided that he would no longer fight against the Union Army. So he said, the American Army. So he said, I will fight no more forever. And so that was kind of ringing in my mind yesterday when I posted in the morning. I will argue no more forever on Facebook. And it's been working out pretty good. I'm the better for it. I'm still writing everything, but I just don't get involved in opinion wars and in what I saw I was doing in trying to be logical in an opinion war that basically is arguing. So I just if we want to expand understanding, great, but no arguing. Anyway, so I want to expand that this evening, and the title of this talk is "Thus Spake Zarathrustra." I think Nietzsche wrote a book on that, and I've just been reading Joseph Campbell, and he was refreshing my mind about the mythology that is the cause of all our arguing. You know, mythology doesn't go away. It just keeps reformatting in different ways. And the mythology of Zarathustra began in Persia, maybe 2,000 years before Christ, before the Jews were taking captivity in Babylon, which was Persia. And according to Joseph Campbell, Zoroastrianism was the first philosophy in mythology that was absolute dualism. In Sumeria and Mesopotamia, in these ancient civilizations that go back thousands of years, the mythology was based on, when it began to be a planting city-states, planting society, the mythology was based on the stars. They discovered that there was a mathematical unity in the stars, that the stars were fixed but the planets moved, and they could be mathematically calculated. And this was a radical revolutionary idea in humanity, because now it was seen that you could get in accord with the laws of the stars. So even the city-states with the king and the hierarchy and the court were all aligned with the planetary system. The alignment of the microcosm with the macrocosm, the lower and the higher, was through the vision of a vast impersonal universe where the earth was at the center, but it was mathematical and impersonal, scientific in that sense. So you had to get in alignment with that. And this universe died and was reborn for endless cycles, eons upon eons upon eons. There was no beginning and end to it. It was a recycling of birth and death. Universes come into being and they go out, like the sun and the moon and that. And then Zoroaster came in and had a vision of a different universe. And let me read a passage from Joseph Campbell, because I think it's really pertinent to our situation today. The nature of the first man, Gaomat, was corrupted by the malice. Oh, let me read this for this next. Excuse me. Excuse me. Yeah. According to Zarathustra, there were two creator gods: a good god, Ahura Mazda, of light, of truth, and of justice, and an evil god, Angra Mainyu, of darkness, deception, and malice. In the beginning, Ahura Mazda created a universe of virtue and light that Trump wanted to restore. which Angkor Maya then maliciously corrupted when the liberals came in. So that the world in which we live is mixed of good and evil, like my martini mixed with gin and vermouth. You can't separate them. Man is therefore not to put himself in accord with nature, the whole. Don't listen to the flesh, you see. Don't obey nature. Conquer it, as in the ancient and oriental worlds. But man was to make a decision for the good, put himself in accord with the good, fight for injustice and the light, and correct nature like Superman. The nature of the first man, Geomet, was corrupted by the malice of Angkor Manu. Man, therefore, is fallen man. His nature is not to be trusted. Don't follow your nature. Follow God, you see. A great prophet, however, Zarathustra, has come into the world, born, they say, of a virgin, who was taught the way of virtue, which is to lead to the end, in the end, to a restoration of Ahura Mazda's uncorrupted universe. There will be no immigrants or liberals. In the prodigious final battle, the powers of light and justice, led by the radiant reincarnation, Saoshat, of the seed of the prophet Zarathustra, born again of a virgin, will engage, overwhelm, and destroy the whole production of Angkor Maya. Indeed, even Angkor Manu himself. The Republican president will restore virtue and justice and eliminate the evil liberals forever. The universe will be cleared of darkness, and the dread, now purged to death, and the dead will be resurrected as bodies radiant of uncorrupted being. Isn't that interesting? Now, the Hebrews, in all the stories, were taken captive and held in Babylon, where they absorbed this mythology and took it back and incorporated it into their Bible. Found in the Essenes and the Pharisees, the sons of light and darkness, you see. And so this gets more, this idea of absolute dualism gets morphed into different cultural forms through time, you see. And it seems to be resurrecting to now, and put into a political framework. No longer talking about these gods of good and evil, although religion, Christianity will talk about that. But when Christianity, the evangelicalism, not all of Christianity, evangelicalism got in bed with the Republican Party, then you have this hybrid, you see, of mythological, biblical thinking and political thinking, and you can't tell the difference. It's all mixed up, like my martini, you see. You can't tell the difference between the gin, and you can't separate the gin from the vermouth. So it's kind of like the world is a mixture of gin and vermouth, and we want to have a perfect dry martini, which is no vermouth. So we want to work, you see, to get rid of the vermouth from the gin. So we get rid of this mixture of impurity and all that. Another good example of it is the rheostat on my dining room wall, where you have, what a rheostat is. You can adjust the light. So the goal then is to gradually increase the light in the room until you get full light and no darkness, you see. And that's kind of the way this system works. You have to work for the side of light to get rid of the darkness, like a rheostat, you see, and keep turning it up, you see, till we have a perfect universe where death and life are no longer mixed up, where good and evil are no longer mixed up, where you just have pure gin. You see what I mean? The idea is that you can separate the up from the down and just have up. Separate the good from the bad and just have eventually all good. Separate the comfort from the discomfort, and eventually you will have just pure comfort. Separate the hot from the cold, so eventually you will just be warm and there will be no cool. All up, no down. And this is our thinking, and it's insane. Because you can't separate up from down. It's like it's like this pencil. It's like this pencil. Say, I just want to have, here's up, top, and here's down. So I want to have just top and no down. So I'm going to cut it here to get rid of this down. And guess what happens? I still got top and down. So I still got pain. I still got discomfort. So I got to get rid of the discomfort and the pain and the bad and the dark, you see. So I break it again. Can't do it. I break it. I've got more. I break it again, but I end up with. There might be a little rush of rapture when I got rid of that down, you see. But then when the dust settles, I still got the down. I still got the bottom. You know, marriages are like that. I want to get to the purity of the original romance, so I keep breaking this guy in half. Trying to get rid of the crap. And it just keeps dividing. So you're not going forward in time, you're going dividing, trying to get to perfection by removing imperfection. And you just end up with smaller and smaller fragments and pieces of your life. You're descending down in a vortex of self-division. You're descending down the elevator into the basement of self-division. Endless self-division in the misguided attempt to have a life free from opposites. And at some point in my life, we realize that that is an illusion. That it's fake news. Life is a blend of gin and vermouth, you see. And so when you sip them both together at the same time, you have a nice martini. And so the alignment with nature, the alignment with the stars, the alignment with this impersonal whole is really an alignment with a universe that is both good and evil, good and bad. But there is now here's where I'm not sure if this takes another talk, so I won't go into this. I'm digressing off into a whole nother area here. So the point is today, if there is a point, is that when you make the vow of no argument, you are making the vow to practice not trying to remove the good from the bad. So when you have an argument on Facebook, an opinion war, that's basically Zarathustra speaking. Because Zarathustra is saying, with a little effort, you can get rid of the corruption of this bad opinion and just have your opinion. The light will shine. And if you really work at it, you can eliminate all of the dark opinions on Facebook and just have your light opinion and restore lightness to Facebook, you see, by going to war against all of these evil and dark opinions. Try that. See how it works. Thanks for dropping in.